Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As most of you know, I represent Newtown. As a matter of fact, most of the families who suffered the indescribable losses at Sandy Hook Elementary School on 12/14 of 2012 are my constituents. Before I share my full comments about the bill before us, I ask that we all take a moment to remember 26 of the reasons why we're here today. If you would join me in just a remembrance of Allison, Anna, Avielle, Benjamin, Caroline, Catherine, Charlotte, Chase, Daniel, Dylan, Emily, Grace, Jack, James, Jesse, Jessica, Josephine, Madeline, Noah, Olivia, and the heroes who tried to save them: Dawn, Anne Marie, Lauren, Mary, Rachel, and Vicky. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to get into anything deeply philosophical today. I'm also not going to bring any amendments. I know how disappointed you might be in that. I'm just going to tell a short story, a personal story. When I was elected to the House of Representatives in November, I was honored, very excited to enter these halls and have the opportunity, as many other freshman legislators, to serve in a typical freshman fashion. Learning from many esteemed colleagues, doing as much good as I could for my own hometown and my district in Newtown. How could I know that beginning with my January 9th swearing in, I would be embraced and reached out to by nearly every single person in the Legislative Office Building and the Capitol Building. Also, little did I know that so many politicians that I would meet could be so incredibly speechless when they met me. Tears were shed, lots of hugs, and I dare say not the typical freshman experience. On December 14th, evil visited my town and everything changed. Since then, I've spent countless hours in the community and on the phone, listening to my constituents' feelings, reading correspondence, attending task force meetings, debating the issues, and preparing for, ultimately, this day. All through this, I've witnessed incredible strength in people, strength in community. Newtown is a truly remarkable place. Along with this strength, we've experienced a world of compassion pour out to our town. Words just can't describe the gratitude felt for all the prayers said on our behalf and the universal empathy expressed, as well as the generosity of neighbors near and halfway around the world. I appreciate the efforts of our legislative leaders trying to craft a bipartisan bill that has been known in the House up until today pretty much as the Newtown bill. Mr. Speaker, I especially appreciate your work to ensure that the many diverse interests inherent in this body were considered and seated at the table. This really was a bipartisan effort, and you have my unwavering respect, as does my own leader, Larry Cafaro, for having the confidence in me to allow me to sit as an honored member on the task force itself. So I've had an opportunity to see the operations of the making of this bill from the inside. That said, the legislation before us is not perfect, particularly in the area that I believe was the most directly responsible for the tragedy at Sandy Hook: mental health, as many of my esteemed colleagues have already mentioned. Additionally, I've reached out and spoken to friends on Newtown's Board of Education. They concur. They concur. So we collectively call on the new Mental Health Task Force to expeditiously complete its work and create a safety net of risk recognition, mandatory reporting, and early detection, as well as interventional services that can flush out potential tragedies before the next mentally unstable young man decides to act. But for now, I see the bill before us as a beginning in the process of addressing critical mental health issues. It also tightens and lays out historic school safety guidelines without mandates and establishes what will be the toughest firearms control laws in our nation while preserving the rights of responsible citizens under the Second Amendment. After the massacre on 12/14, it was inevitable that changes to the current laws were coming. We all saw that. As a representative of Newtown and the families who suffered unimaginable losses on that terrible day, I have heard an overwhelming cry from my community for common sense firearms legislation. I plan to vote yes on this legislation, and I dedicate my vote to the memory of those whose lives were lost at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Thank you very much to all of my colleagues for all of your support and understanding, and for giving me a pass on the typical freshman experience. And I urge you to join me in the memory of 26 angels and find it in your heart to vote for this legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.